Francis Ngannou just shocked the world. This man went 10 rounds against the heavyweight champ in Tyson Fury, and in many eyes won the fight, including my own. After watching the fight and rewatching it, I genuinely believe Francis Ngannou won. But before we get into the actual outcome of this fight, let's just talk about the fact that this fight was not supposed to be close at all. They were calling this a gimmick fight. It was a joke. They said Francis had no business even being in the ring with Tyson Fury. And I still think many people do not understand just how insane this is. Francis crossed over from MMA as the heavyweight champ to a new sport he's never done. His very first boxing match. And this was the result. Look at the post-fight pictures of Ngannou and Tyson Fury, and from those, tell me who you think got the better shots in. Yes, in MMA, there is some boxing. There are punches being thrown. But as many boxing purists, many boxers in general have stated, it is a completely different sport. And I do genuinely believe that Fury thought going into this fight that he was going to have to carry Francis throughout this fight. I think in his mind, he thought he could finish this fight relatively early, but was going to let Francis go in there a few extra rounds. And I do think that Francis surprised him. But you can't take away the credit from Francis Ngannou. He did not stay competitive in this fight because Fury underestimated him. He stayed competitive because Francis is built different. He exceeded all expectations. Because man, did Fury look shocked in there. Especially after that third round knockdown, which was the biggest moment of the fight. Only one man hit the canvas during this fight. And I'm not going to sit here and act like this wasn't a close one at all. This was a very competitive fight. And I do see the thought process of how you could give this one to Tyson Fury. But regardless of a result, it's a loss for Fury and a win for Francis. And it was a huge L for boxing purists. All the people who love to dunk on MMA, I would have loved to see their faces watching this one. It was such a bad look that they canceled the post-fight press conference. They were in shock, they didn't know what to do, and they didn't know how to react and take this in. An odd choice to cancel a press conference after your guy, the boxer, technically wins. And of course, this is a huge win for Francis, regardless of the decision. But it is also a huge win for MMA. It's been awesome to see how proud the MMA community is of Francis Ngannou. Maybe aside from like Dana White. But there's been so many fighters going on talking about how well Francis did and how well he represented their sport. Because of course, this is the best MMA crossover performance we've ever seen. One, we've never seen anyone go up against this type of competition. I guess you could point to those Floyd Mayweather exhibition fights, but he's well out of his prime. Tyson Fury is in the middle of his prime. It's a very different thing. And then, of course, we've also had a lot of MMA fighters get knocked out by Jake Paul. One thing is for sure, we're going to get even more MMA fighters boxing after this one. And the amount of opportunities Francis just earned himself is insane. It has been reported that Francis and Deontay Wilder are in negotiations. They're also now trying to make a fight with Anthony Joshua, someone who called this fight a gimmick and now kind of wants in on the action. So potentially, we could see Francis Ngannou versus Wilder next. I think that's the one that makes more sense, but I guess we'll have to wait and see. Now, the last thing to get into is the question, was this fight rigged? I think to a certain extent, kinda. I do think the judges wanted to lean towards Tyson Fury. They did not want the heavyweight champion to be beat by an MMA fighter in his first boxing match. And we're going to do everything they could to prevent that from happening. And they were lucky that this fight was pretty competitive to where they could give the edge to Tyson Fury. But I think the competitiveness of this fight really just shocked everybody, and it was awesome to watch. And I'm very excited to see whatever's next for for Francis Ngannou. What did you guys think of the fight? What is next for Francis Ngannou? Let me know. Subscribe for more boxing content and updates. The support is much appreciated. Thank you for watching. Peace.